Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my Austrian pine. I'm going to be pruning the tree and pinching the candles. The new growth or candles are extending on the tree and the needles are beginning to open up, so it's a good time to pinch back that new growth. One of my goals with this tree is to get the silhouette tighter. The trunk isn't that thick on the tree, so I thought a slimmer canopy would suit the size of the trunk better. I didn't want like this huge spreading canopy and kind of a skinny trunk going up the middle. I've got a lot of back budding on all the branches, so that will allow me to prune it in to get a tighter profile, a tighter conical form. I think it'll look better style-wise for the tree. Here's a look at the bottom branch on the tree. So I have a lot of new growth at the tips of the branches, but I also have a lot of back buds in here, so I can prune off the ends of the branches, shortening the branches, getting this foliage tighter towards the trunk of the tree. I'll also be pinching the candles back to equalize the vigor on the candles, equalizing the vigor from the top of the tree down to the lower branches. This tree is quite old. It's been in training as a bonsai for almost 30 years now, so the balance is quite good in the tree. You'll see that the candles are growing quite evenly throughout the tree. I'll show you a close-up of that. Alright, let's fly in now and look at the candles. So on this bottom branch I have like one long one here. All the rest of them are fairly equal, so that's really good. On the second branch I've got a long candle here, maybe a couple of other longer ones, but again, most of the other ones are fairly equal. And you can see there's a lot of needles here, and the buds are all kind of growing in amongst the needles. So I need to do a little needle thinning on this branch so I can get light to those new shoots that have developed, all those back buds. As I go up the tree, you'll see that the candles are still quite small and fairly even. There's, the odd one is long here. And then up top I have my sacrifice branches, which I am trying to grow long and vigorous. And that's to even out the thickness of the trunk. The trunk kind of goes from thick to thin to thick. So there's a lot of variation on trunk thickness. So I'm trying to even that out and generally thicken up the trunk compared to the branches. So all the energy will go in growing the trunk, and the branches will stay kind of small and compact. There are so many approaches to developing pine bonsai. My approach on this tree was I let it grow really vigorously. Then I pruned it back fairly hard. I got a lot of back budding then, and now I can prune it back further, making use of all those back buds. I talked about thinning the needles on this branch, and you can see that the new growth has some green on it. The needles are unfolding. It's got green tips on the new growth. So the photosynthesis is starting with the new needles. So I can quite safely strip at least 50% of the old needles off this branch without sacrificing the vigor to the branch, because all these new shoots will be taking over very shortly. I'm going to start today by bringing the branches back in. So I'll have to step back, look at the front view of the pine, see where I can bring the branches back. Like, I have to still maintain my conical form. I can't bring the bottom branch in really tight if I can't do the same with the branches above it. So I've kind of got to bring the whole side of the trees in equally to try and get a tighter conical form to this tree. So here I go. I'm going to start at the top of the tree and work my way down. Now, on a mature pine, you kind of have more of a rounded canopy on the top, but this tree isn't really mature. It's a younger tree with a skinny trunk, so I'll keep my canopy fairly conical. I can always grow it out later on. So I'm going to start here. You can see here this branch is extending quite far out. It's actually extending out further than most of the other branches. So I have a back bud here, and one even back further. So I can take the tip, there's a back bud here also, I can prune this tip back quite far and I'll take it back to here. So taking the whole end off this branch, here I go, like that. Now at this time of the year I'll probably get some bleeding on that branch, but hopefully not too much. The branch behind it, it's in the same kind of place. I can prune it right back to, I have a shoot here, so I can come back to here. Here I go, taking the tip off. That brings that branch in a lot tighter to the trunk line. Now out the back I have the same problem. I have shoots extending quite far out. I'm going to have to take that back quite far. I've got shoots way back here which are still in the conical form. It's a little long at the back of this tree. So I'm going to take that right off, right back to here, like that. I've got all kinds of new buds in this area. I'll take this one off also, like that. Really shortening that branch back. Now this branch is quite long here too. Again, I have lots of back buds back further, so I can take that right off. And this one also, like that. Bring that branch much more compact. Out the front here, I have a very long branch, and again I'll prune it back to here, taking that whole tip off. There's one here I can take back to here, like that. So I always have to step back and look at the tree to make sure I'm pruning it kind of equally, that I'm not, leaving areas too long that can still be cut back. Like I think here, if I'm imagining my profile, this can be taken back here, like that, shortening that. This branch is too long here. I got back budding, so I can take this one back. And this one also, I have back budding. Take that back like that. That helps. This branch is quite nice. It's in the right conical profile. I don't have a lot of vigorous buds on it, so I'll leave that one alone as far as pruning. This one, you can see the radial direction on my branch is here, and then I've got this side branch that comes out, crosses the trunk line, and I want the branch to grow out this direction, not crossing the trunk line, so that one is going to come back right to here. So rotating the tree around, you can see the conical form from all views. So the conical form is better in the front view. The side view, I'm quite wide at the back, so I need to bring some of these back branches in tighter. This one I'll do with pinching. Here is a branch that's sticking out way too far. I've got some back buds, so I can take the whole tip off. Here I go. That whole tip can come off. You have to just kind of ignore these sacrifice branches when you're looking at the tree. They will go someday, and probably they'll stay on for maybe even 5 years till it really thickens the trunk up, till I start noticing the trunk changing. And I've kind of got the trunk how I want it till these sacrifice branches have done their job. Okay, I'm going to see if I can shorten both of these branches now. I think I can. I almost need like to measure them from the trunk, the length of the branch, because in the front view when a branch is on an angle it looks shorter. So maybe I need to measure my shortest branch, which is about the length of my scissors at this level, and I think I'm too long here. So I have lots of buds way back. I could prune this whole end off this branch. Now let me see what that would look like. It would be quite a change. Yeah. It's kind of, from the front view, it's kind of hidden, but it sure contributes. Yeah, it needs to be shortened. This branch here, it's getting quite thick. So there's the branch. So I could take this whole tip off. I have back buds way back here, so I could cut this whole tip off, which is getting too long. And I think I will. I just have to find a place to prune it. It goes quite deep in here. There's a lot of needles in this area. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to prune it off. Here I go. I've got some back buds on it, so I'll take about 70% of it off. Get all the needles out of the way. Here I go. Big cut coming up. Just like that. Taking that whole tip off. So that really brought that branch back now. Let's have a look from the front view. That looks much, much better. So I'm kind of long here too. I need to bring this branch back. I'm going to remove this top shoot. It's crossing everything. It's not a good direction. So that one comes off. Now I can kind of see the branch structure a bit better. The radial direction of the branch is here. This branch is kind of getting a little far off track. I think I need to come right back to here. Another big, big cut coming up. Here I go. Taking the whole tip off. Just like that. Wow. Big cut. You can see the back buds down here, where I can extend that branch out again. There's kind of branch growing upwards here, and it's kind of growing 90 degrees to the branch line. I'm going to take it right out. Like that. Okay, let's look at it from the front. Well, it's looking good. It's looking much better. Now, let's look at this. This has to be shorter, back to maybe the end of my handles. So I've got a big shoot sticking up here. That's kind of, doesn't need to be there. I'm going to prune that off here. Taking that whole tip off. I'm going to prune this bottom. I've kind of clipped these upper branches back. So now I need to attack this bottom branch. I've got a good bud down here, so I'll take this whole branch off here. So here is that bottom branch. I was going to take it off. I have a bud down below, so I'll take this whole branch off. Here I go, like that. That shortens it in. This one can also be shortened. I have back buds, so I'll take this off, like that. And then just checking the length here. I think that's pretty good. I'll just have to pinch this one. I'll do that now. I'll just pinch out the tip of it. That'll get that in check. Here's the radial direction of the branch. I'm getting a little too fan-shaped. I think I need to bring this branch back, and I will, back to here. Taking that whole tip off. I don't want my branches to get too fan-shaped and wide. I want them to be kind of directional. I'm not a fan of those really wide-spreading fan-shaped branches. This one, the second branch, is getting quite fan-shaped. I may have to do some more work on that. Here's a look at the profile of the tree. I think you can see it's more conical shape now. It's a lot narrower at the top here, and that conical shape continues down. I would like to improve the conical form, tighten it up. I still think those bottom branches are too spreading. Yes, if I could tighten that conical form up, kind of to, let me see if I can do this. Maybe somewhere here. I think the tree would look better. I could definitely shorten this lower branches, these two here, trying to tighten them up. So let me work away at it. So on this branch, I have a skinny part of the branch coming out here, and then I've got a thick part here that I could prune off. That would take this length back quite a bit. So I will do that. Okay, here I go. And I'm just going to make a flush cut. It'll heal in here. So here I go. Big cut coming up. Just like that. So there's the piece I took off. So a fairly thick part with a skinny part that was getting long. I'm just going to try and clean that cut up a bit. That looks good. Nice and flush. Okay, so that's got that brought back a bit. Now, can I do the same for this one? Bring it in a bit tighter. I think so. Just taking a stub off there. I'll prune this bud off. It's kind of growing near the other branch, and what will I do here? Nothing? Maybe nothing. I don't really want to prune that off. It's long, but there's not much I can do about it without, really cutting back. And I'll leave it for now. Maybe I'll prune it later. I don't know. Maybe I won't. Okay. I could prune this thick end off this branch, and I have a new branch up tighter to the trunk line that I could develop. I think I'd better. I think it's getting too long and vigorous, this branch. So here comes another big cut. This is probably my biggest cut today. So here I go. Maybe I'll leave a stub. Here I go. Big branch end coming off. Wow, just like that. So that's a fairly large piece coming off the tree. Does it look okay still? Yeah, it still looks good. I need to do the same over here, I think, just to tighten it up. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to take off this whole branch here. So here I go. It's done. Took that off. And the extension here is going to have to come off. I got lots of back buds in this area, so there's no problem there. Take that off. That reduces this branch back. I have new branches to develop out. It's a little bulbous at the end of the branch here, but maybe in the future I can do more carving. I don't know. Clean that up. Yeah, it's a little bulbous looking, the end of this branch. Not very flowing. But we'll see. Maybe when it develops I can prune that whole bulge off in the future. I think I can do that. So does that look better? Let me see. Yes, it tightens it in more. I could come in a little more here. And here. Here. This branch is a nice branch. I've got kind of a skinny branch underneath here and then a thick one on top. I definitely should keep my skinny one and prune the thicker one off. I'll show you that from underneath. So underneath this branch, you can see, I hope you can see that. You can see there's a skinny branch here, and then kind of beside it and above it is a thicker branch right here. So I can remove that thicker branch, replacing it with a skinnier branch. That'll get better taper and flow to my branches. So that will come off, the thicker part up here. All right, here's the branch. I've got to get in here. There it is. I can see where I need to prune it. All right, here I go. Big cut coming up. Whoa, look at that. A lot coming off the end of that branch. So that should look better now. It does. It looks much better. And again, I can remove this stump in the future here, so it blends in nicely. I'm a little long here. Can I prune that back? Indeed I can. There. Pinch. Actually, I'm going to prune this candle back. I've got needles here. I'm going to take the candle off the tip. I need to shorten that branch. I don't have any back buds, so that should do the trick. I should get more back buds on this branch. So once all these new needles come out and kind of harden off, I can remove all the older, longer needles from last year. Or if I need to keep them in some areas, I will. But they've kind of done their job. And if you leave them on, your tree will have more vigor, but you may get less back budding also because the light can't get to the branches as easily. Here's a look at the tree. So I've definitely shortened the tree, that lowest branch here. It's much, much shorter. And I think the branch above it, maybe the two above it here, also need a bit of shortening to get that conical shape a little better. So I'll work on that. Take the tip off. I also have my two bottom branches kind of almost join at the bottom. I think I need some separation there. I better prune off the long part of this branch, so I'll do that. I do have some buds back here. I'll just prune the candle off and prune this one back. That'll help get some back budding there so I can shorten it a bit. And the one on this side I can also shorten. I can take it back to here. That helps get a bit of separation there, not a whole lot though. So up here, this is getting close to the apex, and if I can get thinner branches, it's always a bonus. And this has got so many buds all coming from one spot that I think I can at least prune that cluster of buds off here. So here I go. Like there's just buds everywhere. Cleaning this branch up. The radial direction of the branch is more out the front, so I could take this whole back part of the branch off, and I think I will, this upper part here. So here I go. And then I've got part of it here that's going the wrong direction, so I'll take that off. So that helps fix that branch. It gets it in a better radial direction. I could even prune it off shorter here, and I will. I've got buds back here. I'll prune it off to here for now. That shortens it. So yeah, in the apex, you always have to look for thickening. You don't want big thick branches up in your apex. You want to keep them fine and delicate if you can. It's always a challenge. I think this part's got to come off here. this one? I think that can be pruned back. Okay. This one can be pruned back also. And then this one's getting too thick and strange looking. Take this one off. Cleaning it up a bit and one in here. Getting it to flow a little better. Always looking for flow lines in the branches. This could be shortened back to here. So I'm just looking at my apex now, seeing if I can improve it. I mean, you can always improve it. Not a lot I can do here other than pinch the new growth out. You have to remember in the apex, the tree is generally more vigorous, so do a little harder pruning in the apex. I don't like this branch sitting on the top here. I'm taking that off. Keeping my apex kind of thinned out, otherwise they just get too many buds and too bushy and you can't really see what's going on. Eventually they get so thick. I'll take a bud off here, reducing it from 3 to 2. Let me step back and have another look at it. I think I've definitely achieved my goal of tightening up the conical shape of the trees, bringing them in. It looks like a much younger tree now because it's kind of pointy on top, but it is a young tree. It's 30 years old. It's not an old tree. So eventually, you know, as the trunk thickens, it'll be allowed to grow out a little more. It's easy to grow a tree out wider. It's harder to prune them in tighter. You have to, you know, manage your growth and utilize your back buds. So I think that's pretty good. So I think the only operation I need to do now is a bit of candle pinching to kind of equalize the candles. Now I've already removed a lot of the long candles at the tips. I pruned them off. So let me go in now. I'll look at the candles and see if there's any that need pinching. So I'm just rotating the tree around. Now some of these candles, I can just pinch the very tips off the candles. They're not real long, but you know, they're a little longer than some of the others. I think this one I can prune right off. It's a vertical one, and I've got another better bud in that area, so I can come out. You can also scissor prune the candles if you kind of go in between the needles. So this is all looking good. I'm not seeing any long candles. It's all good. There's one I could pinch the tip off here. Just shorten it a bit. It's all looking good. All looking good in the apex. Yeah, I think that's about it. Looks like I've pruned off all the long ones. Okay, well, I think I better spin the tree around and show you what it looks like from all angles. Here is what I pruned off the tree today. So down here on the bench is all the trimmings. So quite a bit, and like there's thick branch tips in here. I would say, you know, I pruned off maybe a third of the foliage, I would say, somewhere around there. Yeah, so really kind of reduce the tree back, and I think it'll be better for it. I think it's much more trim, the tree. It's not so thick and overgrown looking. All right, I'll spin the tree around. So there's the front of the tree. Coming around to the right-hand side. Coming around to the back side. Around to the left-hand side. And back to the front. I've placed my Austrian Pine back on the bench, and I can't believe how much less room it takes up. It used to extend right out And it was quite crowded in this spot, and now it looks just right. So I've really slimmed the tree up. And I really like it. I like it as a thinner tree. It really brings out the branches. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. I think it's looking older, actually. I said it maybe looks younger, but I'm thinking it makes the branches look thicker and more mature and older, is what I'm thinking. I think it, yeah, I think the compactness makes the tree actually look older. So very interesting. Today, I took steps to kind of balance the foliage mass to the diameter of the trunk. I think at the start of today, I had too wide a canopy on the tree for the diameter of the trunk. I think the two didn't match each other very well. The trunk is fairly young and skinny looking. The top of the tree was too wide and full looking. So I think the two match each other better now. A slimmer conical form to the top of the tree to match the trunk. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.